Today I'll be talking with Maddie Barber, who works with foster youth in Thousand Oaks. We will go over some of the challenges around foster care and some of the ways that people can help and what the nonprofit organization James Storehouse that she works at is doing to help with the problem.
Yeah. Hey, I work at a nonprofit called James Storehouse. Our primary focus is providing resources for youth in foster care, but we also do foster care prevention. So that includes working with teen parents, females that have come out of sex trafficking, families that are high risk due to their low income and poverty. And then we also do like family reunifications for when the kids are reunified basically with their parents. So the resources we have include things like beds, car seats, strollers, household goods. It's quite a wide range because, as I said, we have not only kids that are being placed into foster homes, and that includes emergency placements where they come with nothing but the clothes on their back into a new home. But since we're doing prevention and working with youth aging out of foster care, that includes apartment setups and other resources for the home. So that's a general idea of what we do.
Yeah. And what's like your position there?
I'm the case manager, so I work directly with the social workers and contacting clients as well to schedule their appointments for the resources, and then checking them in and things like that as they arrive. And I also, technically, I'm also the program manager of enrichment and education. So I have a few workshops that I lead. One is for the teen parents, so that teaches life skills to teen parents that don't have a role model teaching them how to be a parent. And then I also just finished a financial workshop series for youth in foster care, or really for adults. They're TAY youth, transitional age youth, so 18 to 22-year-olds who are moving out of foster care and into adulthood on their own. And then I'm also doing an artisan group that it's basically an art class where we do things like woodwork, leather work, different things like that that help teach the youth skills and provide a safe place for them to spend time and to get to know other people and be empowered. And that's really opened the door for storytelling and just getting to know them better.
And how many like clients do you like currently like work with or cases you kind of manage?
So we have new clients and we have ongoing clients. On average, we're serving about 1,500 people a month. But some of those are mostly people don't come in every month, but they could come in typically like every 6 months is what we do, but more if the child is, at an age where they're growing a lot and they need new clothes or a youth in foster care moves or whatever the situation is. So there are some repeats, but that is our average number served per month right now.
Yeah. I don't know. So is it also like a lot of like just like one time only?
Yeah, we have some one time only. There's quite a bit of people that return, either the caregivers who receive a different child. So they're coming back, but it could be a different child in their care. Or again, a lot of the youth that are aging out of foster care, they don't have adults in their life. And so some of them come just because they want to see us and they feel like we're family and that we're always going to be there for them. Like their social worker, when they're done, they're done. Like you can't maintain a relationship once the case is closed as a social worker. So for us, it's cool because we don't have any rules about, keeping the relationships going. And they can come in. Sometimes they literally just come in to visit, but we usually end up giving them at least food or something that they could use.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it like, what is like is it mostly the kids aging out that you deal with, or is it mostly like the kids going to like being placed in homes?
So I don't have those numbers on me right now, like what percentages we have of each, but we actually right now the county has shifted their focus to do more prevention work than ever before in the past. So right now we're doing a lot of prevention work. That's the majority. So that's the teen parents, um, the really low income, like families in poverty, things like that. So that's a majority. And then being placed versus aging out. I would say there's probably more youth that we work with that are being placed into homes because that number in general is just higher, I believe. But I would have to double check those numbers for sure. But I have definitely closer relationships with the youth aging out because they're older. That's who I personally work with more,
Yeah.
based on my position and things. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And like what else? Like how like widespread across like the county or like or people you're already working with? Is it mostly just like in Thousand Oaks, or is it like all around Ventura County?
yeah, we work all around the whole entire county. So from every city in Ventura County, and then we actually work quite a bit in LA County, but they always have to come to us because when we're doing the apartment setups, we'll deliver couches and tables and things like that. But if they're in LA, we don't have the resources yet to be delivering there, and we don't have an office there. Our office is in Newbury Park, but we do serve LA County as well.
Yeah.
And the majority of our clients come from Oxnard.
Yeah.
And it's actually a specific area code in Oxnard where most youth are being removed. There's a very particular zip code. And we're actually going to be opening a second building there in that zip code.
Oh, wow. Yeah. When's that going to happen?
It's supposed to happen next year. We've already started looking at buildings.
Yeah.
So it should be happening next year sometime.
Yeah. Do you kind of like know why it's like that particular area?
A lot of it has to do with income.
Yeah.
So the poorer areas, there's more crime there. So, that influences parenting and just things going on, like dangerous situations, kids being neglected, generally, there's a connection between education and income and knowing how to raise kids and things like that. So, a lot of those kids are more likely to be abused or in dangerous situations.
Are there any like big things that like people tend not to know about the foster care system?
I think how many kids are in need, and then a lot of people say they can't do it because they'll get too attached to the kids and then have to have them go back to their parents. But that's the goal. The primary goal of foster care is for these kids to be reunified with their parents. And people sometimes see that as the enemy, like, oh, their parents must be horrible and why would we want them to go back to them? When in reality, the whole point is that kids are in foster care temporarily because it's best for children to be with their biological parents, which is why they're doing so much more prevention work right now. But people often see the biological parents as the enemy when really they just need education, they need resources, and some obviously don't get reunified. Some children are adopted out of foster care. But there are definitely a lot of families who just need help. They're not evil for having their children removed. So I think that's an issue. And then also a lot of youth aging out, becoming homeless. So that's interesting because, and they can be very judgmental of homeless people, but there's a good chance that they were in foster care. A lot of youth in foster care end up homeless at some point, 80% within a year aging. So, because you can imagine you go from having a social worker and money for housing and different kinds of things, and then all of a sudden you're on your own with no adults and you're like 18 to 22 and you don't know what to do.
Yeah. So a lot of people tend to think that foster care system is more for a way to like adopt kids rather than take care of them.
Yeah. I think people do foster in order to adopt, but just the idea that the biological parents are evil, I think, is a misconception, because reunification is the goal of foster care. And I don't think people think about it like that.
Yeah. Okay, and I have one last question. Like, do you think that the foster care system is getting any better, or what do you think that could be done to make it better?
That's hard to answer. I think it's getting better because the numbers are going down. And the fact that the focus is on prevention should be a really good thing, because hopefully at some point the foster care numbers will be very low and most kids will be at home. Actually, I did listen to a podcast from, I don't know, some experts, and they were talking about how it's better for a kid to be sitting on the floor with their people they know rather than at a table with strangers. So ideally the goal, for kids, the best thing for them is to be with their biological family, as long as it's safe. So I think that the prevention focus is a really good thing. But I think we need some more policy changes and more awareness, and continued assistance for youth, so that they're not left on their own when they age out, and so that those numbers go down, that there's not 80% of youth becoming homeless, because that's obviously a huge issue.
Yeah.
Terrifying. So I would say, that knowing that the numbers are going down, and that it's not just because they're not removing kids, it's because they're doing more to educate and provide resources to biological families. I think that's definitely a good thing, but I think there's definitely a lot more to go. More, like I mentioned, those things, and then policy changes that will help with different things that are still issues. I think that's part of the problem, is there's paperwork and people making decisions that are not on the field and things like that, where that would be a good insight.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to my podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll be having some interesting people on for the next one. My name is Christian Larson, and again, that was Maddie Barber, working at James Storehouse in Thousand Oaks, at a nonprofit organization for kids in foster care and who are going out of it. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.